Hello everyone, BYM here, and I'd like to introduce you all to the inaugural video of a new series on the channel called Wonderful Web of Nature. The purpose of this new series is to highlight the interconnectivity of different ecosystems when it comes to the individuals that call these ecosystems home. This includes humans and the role that they play in the ecosystems as well. And so today I'd like to highlight the coast live oak, a species that I find that is incredibly common around Northern California, where I find myself calling home now. And I think it's an interesting species, and I hope you guys will enjoy learning about it as well. So let's get to it. So I'm here on the UC Berkeley campus where I'm an undergrad, and as you can see behind me, there are quite a few live oak trees, and all of them have, well, most of their leaves still on their branches. And this points to the fact that live oaks are a semi-deciduous tree, which means they lose their leaves in cycles throughout the year, but not entirely at once, because they want to make room for new leaves, but they're not similar to the trees that you'll find on, well, the East Coast or other oak varieties that lose their leaves all at once. So when I think of live oak trees, I think of acorns. And when I think of acorns, I think of squirrels. And this connection is pretty natural because live oaks drop their acorns in the fall. Squirrels pick them up and store them away for the winter when they might not be as common. And this points to the fact that the live oak tree is a significant member of this ecosystem and provides for it significantly. And without it, things would be quite different around here. And so I'd like to go into exactly why that is and exactly what the live oak functions as in this ecosystem, but I'd like to give a little more background before I get to that point. So now that we've talked about how the squirrel and the live oak are connected, I wanted to zoom out a little bit and connect to a greater concept called the food web. And this delineates exactly how each and every plant and animal within an ecosystem are connected on a tiered system when it comes to who uses whom for energy. And we can go a little bit deeper into that tiered system in just a second. So the tiered system that allows us to recognize who uses whom in an ecosystem for energy is called a trophic leveled system. And within this system, there are 5 different levels called trophs. The first level is for the producers in an ecosystem, like the live oak, and the other 3 in the center are for consumers, like the squirrel and others that consume the squirrel on top of that, such as the red-tailed hawk, for example. And the last level is called a decomposer, who puts together exactly what's left at the end and reuses it in order to allow the producer once again to benefit from the waste. So certain levels in a trophic leveled system are invaluable to that system and to the ecosystem, in that if you were to remove that species, there would be significant damage and the ecosystem wouldn't look the same in any way, shape, or form. And a plant that is known as a keystone species is the one that you can see behind me, the coast live oak, because of how much it does for the ecosystem. And this is unusual because, as I told you, the lowest part of the ecosystem are the producers. And usually producers are pretty insignificant, but we'll go through exactly what makes the live oak so unique and what different species it plays a host to. So you might be wondering exactly what qualifies the live oak as a keystone species, because yeah, sure, there's a connection between the live oak and the squirrel, but it can't just be that one animal relies on the live oak in order for it to be considered a keystone species. And so we'll speak of a few more that I think are pretty interesting and that I've personally interacted with. So stay tuned for that. So a species that I like to mention that is significantly impacted by the loss of coastal live oak, specifically in Los Angeles, where I'm from, is the California scrub jay. And I've noticed since I was young that California scrub jays don't really exist anymore in my neighborhood. And I've seen that that's connected exactly with the removal of live oak from my neighborhood. There only is one street in my neighborhood now that has live oak, and that's the only street where I see the scrub jay, which is interesting because I would imagine they would roam from that location as well, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And that connection is kind of what sparked the creation of this video, because I noticed how significant it is when a species like this, like the live oak, is removed from an ecosystem. As you can see, the changes really quite quickly. The live oaks provide the scrub jays with acorns that they need for survival, but they also provide the scrub jay with a vital prey that I only see around this area, which is the California oak moth. And I've seen throughout the fall that, well, there are caterpillars everywhere around the live oaks. And then at a certain point, there's just a gigantic boom where all of a sudden the canopies of these oak trees are filled with moths. And I would imagine that without both the acorns and the moths, the scrub jay is significantly impacted to the extent that it doesn't really have the ability to survive in the area without those 2 vital forms of food. So each and every part of the coastal live oak is used by these species. So for that reason, it seems quite simple to understand why this species, the live oak, is a keystone species for this ecosystem. Not only are the leaves used, the trunks used, the twigs used, the acorns used, everything is used, whether that's for shelter or whether that's for food. And so that's why I really appreciate the live oak. And I don't only appreciate it in California, but all around the country where different varieties of the live oak are present. So we have the coastal live oak here in Northern California and throughout the rest of the state. But then I've also seen different live oak varieties in Florida and the south of the US that play a similar role. And Florida actually has scrub jays of its own. So if you guys are curious, definitely give it a look. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to make many more videos in the future. Hopefully we'll do once every week posting schedule, but that might be a little over ambitious, so bear with me. Anyways, have a good rest of your night or day or night wherever you are, and hope to see you guys soon.